hearing that the Nigerian Democratic Congress, NDC, hereby zones its presidential ticket for the 2027 presidential elections to southern Nigeria for the remaining and single term of 4 years. Of the said 4-year term in 2031, the presidential ticket of our great party, the Nigerian Democratic Congress, shall automatically and irrevocably rotate to northern Nigeria.
I made these remarks, the one and only people of Nigeria. You stand. We the blockers. Our national leaders. Our national leader, the chairman of our party, wonderful. The leader of the Kwankwaso group, Kwankwaso! Let me stand and all. Rabiu Kwankwaso. Okay. I wish to start by most sincerely thanking the NDC family led by our leader, President, for the invitation and the warm welcome we received. As we are here now in the NDC, we are part of this family. And this is a great family that will come around Nigeria. Today in Nigeria, we are seeing beneficiaries of our democracy, beneficiaries of our judiciary, beneficiaries of good governance, and themselves into an agent of destroying democracy, into an agent of injustice, into an agent to ensure that what they benefited from will no longer apply to Nigerians, especially to the opposition party. And I thank the leaders of NDC, the leader, for insisting we can't have one party in Nigeria. Nigeria must have democracy. And we insist that those who think we will not have free and fair election in 2027, let them rethink now. Because in 2027 we are going to have free, fair, and credible election. Nigeria is not a poor country. Nigeria is rooted into poverty, and we will change it. Going with what Rabiu Kwankwaso said, we need unity in Nigeria. We want to unite Nigeria. We want Nigeria to love each other. That is why people think we are changing party. Where we are now, let me assure you, we are not changing party because we want it for transaction. We were changing it, like Churchill said, some men change party based on their principle, and some men change party because of opposition. So they change their principle to stay in a party. We change because we want to have a place, we have opportunity to build a new Nigeria that is possible. And we assure you, look at our sign. That is the sign our forefathers. That is the sign our forefathers
Well, our mission today is to unpack a potential political earthquake in Nigeria with that exact energy. We are looking at the heavily rumored 2027 alliance between major opposition figures Peter Obi and Rabiu Kwankwaso.
Yeah, and we're examining how this move could completely, upend the current power dynamics for President Tinubu and the ruling APC.
Right, and what it actually means for everyday citizens who are just desperate for systemic change. So the spark for this fire happened at the recent NDC convention, right?
It did, yeah. Rabiu Kwankwaso made this incredibly calculated move. He openly supported zoning the presidency to the south.
Which is huge.
Oh, it's massive. And then Peter Obi immediately stepped up and urged opposition parties to just stop bleeding themselves dry with endless court cases and internal crises.
I mean, the zoning comment is what really jumps out to me here, because for anyone following Nigerian politics, Kwankwaso making that concession, he's a dominant northern leader. Conceding the presidency to the South is not just some polite convention gesture.
No, definitely not.
It targets the very foundation of how the country's voting blocks are built.
Exactly. Because zoning is that crucial unwritten power-sharing rule. It's basically designed to rotate power geographically. And the APC has historically maintained its grip by relying on a fractured opposition.
Right, keeping everyone divided.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So if you combine Kwankwaso's deeply established northern political machinery with Peter Obi's massive, digital-first base of southern youth, you completely dismantle the ruling party's core strategy.
You're bridging a historic geographic and demographic divide in literally one single move.
Right.
But let me push back a bit here. A convention stage handshake is one thing, but actually merging these bases, that's like attempting a corporate merger where the two companies run on entirely different operating systems.
That is a really good way to put it, actually.
Because Kwankwaso's base relies on traditional on-the-ground patronage networks, whereas Obi's movement is fueled by this decentralized, youth-driven digital activism. So how do these politicians actually integrate those structures?
Without their own egos destroying it, you mean?
Exactly. Without hidden deals or, personal ambition blowing the whole thing up before we even get to 2027.
Well, they are going to run into massive logistical friction, honestly. Obi's youth base is highly skeptical of traditional political deal-making, which, ironically, happens to be the exact kind of backroom negotiation that Kwankwaso's traditional machine excels at.
Wow. Yeah, that is quite the clash.
Right. To make this work on an actual ballot, they have to integrate local ward structures. If Kwankwaso's ward leaders feel sidelined by Obi's online organizers, or if Obi's base feels Kwankwaso is compromising their reformist message for political expediency,
the entire alliance just collapses.
Exactly. Collapses from the bottom up.
Which makes the emotional stakes for the voters incredibly volatile right now. We're talking about a deeply informed electorate dealing with an economy that is just pushing them to the brink.
Yeah, they're feeling it every single day.
They already know the brutal realities, the rising fuel prices, hunger, widespread insecurity, hopeless graduates. What they are looking for is whether this new political machinery can actually deliver structural relief or if it's just another mirage.
Right.
It's basically like being offered a life raft while drowning, but hesitating because every previous raft you were handed turned out to be made of paper.
That is such a stark analogy, but it's completely true. Young Nigerians in particular are caught between this desperate hope for a real rescue mission and a deeply ingrained fear of betrayal.
Because they've been burned before.
Exactly. History has taught them that Nigerian political alliances can shift overnight, often leaving the voter holding the bag. They want this merger to work so badly, but they're emotionally exhausted from backing previous coalitions that just dissolved into infighting the moment actual power was on the table.
So the stakes are astronomically high. If this alliance holds and they manage to integrate those two different political operating systems, it fundamentally rewrites the electoral map from north to south.
And if it fails due to infighting, the ruling party likely cruises right through the divided opposition again. Every structural move these leaders make over the next few years is going to be scrutinized by a youth base demanding immediate action, not just, empty unity speeches.
Which leaves you with something to ponder on your own. Going back to that tech merger analogy, if traditional political alliances require deep compromise and backroom deals, what happens when a movement fueled by a youth demand for radical disruption merges with traditional political machinery?
That is $1 million question.